Hi, everybody. Did I say where I was? I did! Alright, well, it's midnight 30-ish in the morning, and, on the day this goes out, because I forgot we didn't have a video for today. And oh gosh, I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill toward the distant tower, and the demo ends. Okay, good. It continues. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead. How long is this game if this is how long the demo is? I finally find what I was searching for. The cenobium of the luminous void. It stands at the end of the demo, at the highest point of Iridia. Surrounded by cold white walls, well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the cenobium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. My stomach gives an uneasy lurch as my chair refuses to stay at the right height. Though far grander than the humble shrine of my youth, the cenobium gives the same impression of being a gilded birdcage. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps and something moves in my peripheral vision. Shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. You reach out and tug on a vine as if testing its strength. Oi, you up there! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gout-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the step toward me. Ugh, another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing. Just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. Hello? A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off of her. Not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, you need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or even if I should. Her gaze is uncomfortably fixed on me, heavy as lead. After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. Lucky for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps into my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What do you do? As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? Whatever disease this woman had ate away at her from the inside out. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet the power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the cenobium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. Her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there wordless until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the cenobium shut gates, then follow her down the steps. We descend back into the former image, back from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me, but the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther and farther still, until I met with an all too familiar sight. I got lurches when I faced the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it, but venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. Bark had a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. Are you kidding? It's not safe out there. You're as safe inside the city as outside of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Aiz. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. He's my dad. I squint against the empty wasteland. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently I am both. But if this sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Delta. I hope we meet again. I heard pounds of each. I never told her my name, I don't think. Which is the step I take away from civilization. It doesn't take me long to realize I'm not the only heartbeat I hear. Like a nagging thought at the back of my mind, I can sense another pulse thrumming through the earth beneath my feet. I felt this presence before when I first stepped out of Curse's clinic. A living dread cursing underneath the city, only this time I'm getting closer to it. For what seems like an eternity, I forced each foot forward. One step and another until a realization hits me. Okay, there it is. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building, nestled into a tall cliffside but so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless. Several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think, I just run. Exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards that decorated building. I die. Flashes of the last night chase me. The gushes of blood, the screams of death, the smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through the towering double doors. Into the end of the demo. Jesus Christ. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from the exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings... It's more hellscape than sanctuary. Ugh. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth, but the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly. I swallow so thick you'll never even know, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Sea pillars scattered on the floor. A rusty kettle sits nearby, what with to boil blood on. In. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for the closest one. I reach for a note in front of me. It reads, "Dear Mother, don't cry for me. I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye, but we'll meet again in another life. I love you very much. Virus. P.S. If you ever see me, never speak to me again." It's written in perfect cursive. I've never seen such beautiful handwriting. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back. My eyes starting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty. Vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper. Something wrong. Something familiar. It's watching me. Hey. Or hey. I don't know. I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly, all different sizes and species, but one sharing one identical trait, glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step.
It's deeper than it looks.
That voice again. The sound of it. Soulless freeze. Their snarls quieting.
Oh, shit. It's, Cassidy.
I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters.
Oh, fuck yeah. You look lost, little sparrow.
His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. The same eyes I've seen over and over. First with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist around the wooden beams. I woke up at like 9. I've been awake too long. I can't focus. The soulless growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them.
Hey. Eyes on me.
My stomach rolls to tear my eyes away from the soulless.
Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite.
For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I look right into his unnerving eyes, holding his gaze defiantly. Fuck you. Is that better? A crooked grin cracks across his face.
We'll work on it.
I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking. Posturing more than anything else. Almost as if they're waiting for commands. Did you tame them?
Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might fight. You could give me a reason to stop them.
How about I didn't do anything wrong?
Trespassing.
And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug.
Expecting mercy was your first mistake.
My voice stops in my throat. The man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to defuse the situation. Okay, fine. I need help. I thought the sea spring could cure me somehow. My voice wavers pathetically. Honesty has never been my strong suit. He cants his head to the side, appraising me, but doesn't respond. I fidget nervously. I'm telling you, I came here for help. Are you listening?
Your hands.
Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak.
Show me.
Why?
Won't ask twice.
With a sharp puff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this?
Unwrap them. Mommy unwraps her hands, J.O.
Heat rushes to my face, then fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless or one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well, the hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages.
Stop.
With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster. Whoa. Nice. With an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light. His features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards. Find nothing to set my foot on. I had forgotten my back was to the sea spring. I fall, right before a warm hand catches my lower back. We kiss. I'm hovering above the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine.
Told you to watch your step.
I'm too stunned to mutter a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the souls around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways and checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. A sudden disregard is all of the smelting. So that's it? I'm not a threat anymore?
Never were one.
Then why'd you threaten me?
People get honest when they're afraid.
In other words, he was messing with me. I drag my hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that it's the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're ice, aren't you?
Depends who's asking.
One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader. There's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Eyes picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red.
Gang took a walk.
His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Except, not nearly. Then in an instant it drops. I get the sense I shouldn't ask about his gang again.
You said you came here for help.
Depends. Can a sea spring cure a curse?
Probably.
You mean you don't know?
Nope.
He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. I like that they've got actually different sprites for these emotions, because so many visual novels are like, they stare at me intently, and the visual novel is just like the same smiling face it's been the entire time. I like that they've got different sprites for each of the... Are you being irritating on purpose?
Listen, Sparrow. The sea spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself.
What do I have to do?
Drink.
I have to drink from the sea spring? My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. Is there a price?
Always.
You lose a little bit.
You lose a little bit.
That's it? Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. Hot.
This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head.
My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. Really? Couldn't just say hive minds? Because we already have a word for it. Whatever. My attendants used to tell me that my power granted people access to a higher plane of understanding. A group mind of my own making. All lies. But something tells me this is real. Even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Aiz strides past me towards the entrance.
Time's up. Let's finish this later.
Wait, already? You barely told me anything.
Came on a bad day. I got somewhere to be.
There's still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, and instead I got threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right?
Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood.
My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Aiz's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Aiz approaches a nearby Solus, a lanky, dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly, and Aiz squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils. He scratches his chin and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Aiz's lips. The affection he holds for the Solus is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight.
It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back.
Following a short whistle from Ai's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the solace warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you?
Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it's over. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back.
It's a lot to process, but I gave a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the solace at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ai's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but it just flashes me an easy smile.
Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scarring you.
I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. And then the demo ends. Jeez, how? Outside, Outside, more crimson-eyed souls scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bogs, but is it possible that this is taking me an hour and a half to get this far because I'm reading it? And the developers were like, oh yeah, this is pretty short if you're just like reading it to yourself and not saying it all out loud and doing voices, and maybe it's only long because I'm playing it. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the Solus looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. The Solus, the dog one. I remember. Dusk darkens as the sky by the time we reach the city. I can't sense that massive heartbeat anymore. Ooh, in my head. The Solus sits and looks at me expectingly with familiar crimson eyes. I want to pet the Solus. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the Solus's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Ai's had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the Solus spins around and scampers back the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. Barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible, tame Solus being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day.
Maybe I should go fuck that bloodhound guy.
Nightfall creeps across the street of Iridia. The city, labyrinthine. Labyrinthine? Labyrinth.
In a. Labyrinthine. Labyrinthine.
I know it's labyrinth. I'm familiar with labyrinthian, but that's not this word. Whatever. Even in daytime, it has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the Wetwick. My steps slow when I hear the rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something's wrong. Oh, like always. The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to another, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. Then I die. I can't stay here. I need to reach the busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder. Maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The Solus that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark indistinct shape, a body. A garland of intestines spills from the pallid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestones for mercy. For a mercy, the Soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, and then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the Soulless raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its bulging eyes fixed unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Run! I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, a piercing bay splits the silence. Heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. And now I'm lost. Oops. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arms swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars the way. A dead end. When I turn around, the Soulless looms in the entry of the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the building linings of the street are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... Door. I whirl, grabbing at a handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push. I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the other side and it slams shut. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood. Never mind a stranger. The Soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the Soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. Nowhere left to go. I wonder what happens if we touch the Soulless with our hand. It descends on me for the kill. But the impact never comes. I warily crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outreached. Hey! It's the woman! Moonlight silvers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood. And the Soulless? My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The Soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well, I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part from the brink of a question, then close again. With a strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. Something about them is strange, unlike any human or monster I've ever met. I can't quite place my fingers on why. Probably the fucking crimson eyes. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Hey there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the Soulless' gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize I saw their hooded silhouette at the synovium. You saved me. You saved me. I shouldn't have had to. Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. Can't make heads or tails of them. First they saved me, now they scold me. Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the Soulless' corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Delta. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive into the back of the Soulless' neck. The Soulless thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper until there's a sickening crunch. Then the creature goes limp. My heart thuds at my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightened up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly cleaned the blood from their knife. I swallow, my eyes still glued to the cooling corpse. Why is the soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Souls can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. Cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess. You're not a fan of the Cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows, and they sheathe their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in the city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that soulless, and you were in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need to get directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? That you've already helped me once tonight. Why not a second time? That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Delta? Ah! I turn, surprised by the voice. Karas walks down the street toward us. White and gold clothing and pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solus was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity in the way they regard each other. I didn't know you had friends. Didn't know you had friends, Min. I don't. Freelance work is dangerous, and Karas is a doctor, that's all. Delta needs to get back to wherever they're staying, before they wander into the jaws of another Solus. It's late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Delta? I'm staying at the Wetwick. Both of their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks her tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district, that gaudy cesspit. Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when Karas leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Karas is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Karas hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wetwick. The route Karas takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through the darkened streets and twisting alleys. Back to the same picture from before, except this time it's night. Seems like half the city is poured into the Amaryllis district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wetwick. Its doors hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. That's his name. Ugh, fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. To the end of the fucking demo, right? Like, what? As soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Karas stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of forming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Karas glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Karas at a clipped pace. Interesting. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. I don't remember his voice, it was days ago. A flash of magic paints the glass. It was like Sunday.
God, it's fuck. Oh my god, it's Thursday. Oh, 4 days have passed since I recorded this. I've been so stressed this week. A flash of magic paints the glass white with froth. You're never gonna guess what's in these. It's my gum. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shocks of the evening in rapid succession. Ayes leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the corner. He catches the glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents, magically congealed, stay firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. Ver, perched on the... Hey, all the hotties are here. Ver, perched on the bar's counter beside Ice, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Ver's lips twitch, his ears flatten when Ice offers him the glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff and Ice just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Ice throws back his head and downs the shot. Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ice's face. It's chewy. Chewy? Oh, wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Kuras and Min. At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt in Kuras until Kuras sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Kuras's hand to his face, then soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All the people I've met today know each other. Good evening, Leander. Eyes. Another drinking competition, I presume? Oh, is it evening already? Could have sworn it was early. God, he's so fucking... Look at him. Oh. Sorry. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Cross is acknowledging of Leander and Ice with a slightest nod, ignoring Ver entirely, not that Ver seems to mind. He tilts his head and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots me in, looming silently behind Cross. I almost didn't see you there, Mian. Looking for your booster seat? Mian pushes back their hood. They level Ver with a cool look. I thought Ice wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Ver's tail gives an angry twitch. Sorry. I just love them. At the first sight of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter and slides between Ice and Kuras. No, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Kuras's shoulders. You are finally taking me up on that drink, right, Kuras? I'm afraid not. We're merely escorting Delta back to their lodgings. Kuras gestures in my direction, and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Delta! It's been too long. Everyone, this is Delta. You're new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fix onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. Hi everyone. Again? Wait, you've already met everyone? Eyes and Ver level me with subtly amused expressions. Ver's tail gives a lazy wag. We did. Not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect they're stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. Oh my god! Look at that eye! God damn. Like, smash. Like, all, like, right? Like, oh my fucking god. Oh, fuck. Oh, alright, sorry. Worked up there for a second. In an instant, all eyes turned to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them.
The low, pleasant rumble of Lander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. What color me surprised? You make friends fast, Elton. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances? A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man? You said that. Here. Last week. I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Lander clears his throat and continues unperturbed. Let's toast to Delta's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Cross politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces the din of the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. Bear looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label's been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Bear pauses in the middle of licking champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Lander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Ais cants his head at me, a light smile on his lips.
How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier.
No, my treat. Ais regards Leander over the lip of his glass in the dim light. So we're fucking all of them, right? Like we have to. Especially this. Oh, fuck. And holy shit. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What'll it be, Delta?
Let's have some fun.
I'll take you up on that drink, as long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you've tried them. They taste better than they look. Somehow I doubt that, but I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. He's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Ice, he only shrugs.
Like I said, they were chewy. Probably poisoned, too.
He considers his own drink, a tumbler amber of colored whiskey.
Lander's tried to kill me a dozen times by now. It's always a gamble.
Bear clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks my way, it's with a half-lidded gaze, softened by his third glass of champagne.
Third already?
Were I you, I wouldn't Lander put anything in my mouth.
Uh-huh. Like I'm gonna believe that sentence.
He fans his fingers over his chest, voice dripping with fake reverence. The Wetwick is one of the finest drinking establishments in all of Aridia. While you're here, you may as well partake of the signature watered-down drinks and stale nut leather.
Stale nut leather? Yep, alright, yep.
He sweeps his hand towards a chipped ceramic bowl filled with spindly, speckled jerky, and I can only assume is nut leather. I passed out 20 times, but your nut leather is done. What's with the food in this city? As abysmal as you make it sound, this place is completely packed.
It's not all bad. Depending on the day, the food's edible.
Isaac takes a measured sip of his drink.
Gotta stick around for the real attractions, though.
Before I can ask what he means, Lander turns to the tumbler that he sets in front of me. Uneven chunks of ice bob in a pool of reddish purple alcohol. I sniff the drink suspiciously. To my relief, this time all I smell is the sharp, clean scent of gin with an undercut of fermented fruit. Relax. It's just the local specialty, plum gin.
Though if you're feeling more adventurous.
I shake my head. Leander raps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls silent. Alright everyone, let's toast. May Delta's stay in Aridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers. Leander, Ais, and Ver raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and Karas watches with polite indifference. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly strong. Despite a sharp medicinal edge, it does go down smooth. One sip softens the edge of my vision. The next fades the dim of the crowded bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. And then I start fucking everybody. Lauren, you're the popular one, Delta. I'm guessing you met Cross first. It would be more accurate to say that I found them. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit I was confused when I woke up missing all my clothes. Leander makes a choked noise. Somewhere behind him, Min sighs. It's not what you think. Delta was in a grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Karas's disappointment, and catch Varys snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Karas isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen. I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with practiced ease, without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You're one to talk, considering you neglected to warn them to stay off the streets at night. Oh, I might have gotten a little distracted. Oh, look at him blushing! Min only responds with a short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick towards Ais, and her lips twist. Ais is too busy nodding along to Varys' enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice. Varys' enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing. Lost, no doubt, in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole, let's go. Min and Karas share a brief look, and the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there's something I must discuss with Leander if you'll excuse us, Delta. Just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence. So I think, until I hear a voice so soft it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide? Oh, please. I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people. Oh god, the irritating? Look at how fucking hot they are. The two hottest. By, like, the horns and the ears? Fuck. Sorry. Monsters are not yet monsters? Oh my god. There's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Lander's already snuck off to get his nose slobbered out. Damn. We're working fast. He's got business, Karas and Min. 2-on-1 business, huh? Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Varys has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped on the back of his hand. No, he doesn't. His ears twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come join us. He pats the empty bar stool beside Ice, but I hesitate. Smile wears a sweet and distinctly sly. And with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ice will mix with me next.
We don't bite. Unless you want us to.
I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken.
You sure it was me?
Yes, it was you. And then you had the gall to kick me out just so you could go drinking. He gives another one of his shrugs.
I was lonely.
A simpler answer than I expected. Guess I can't fault him for that. Bear suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pooling where he rests, elbows on his knees. Aiz sets his hand on Vera's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start fresh? Begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Vare, Hunter Extraordinaire.
I like that.
Vera's right hand flutters to his chest. He bows his head, flinching when hair falls into his eyes. Aiz doesn't say anything. I suppose it's my turn now. I'm certain you already know my name. Hard not to when Leander shouts it every other second. Vare tips back his hand and drains the rest of his champagne. Tips back his head, even. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Delta. He says my name's Delta. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring all 2 syllables. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze away. Aiz smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Something funny?
Nope.
It's just that how badly I want to have sex with both of you. I open my mouth just to close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp, cat-like eyes keep me on edge, something about this tension is fun. Must be the gin. No, it's the fucking hot men. A flash of white over Ice's shoulders catches my eye. Across the bar, Cross heads for the door. I don't see Lander or Mian, but it feels wrong to leave him without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Bear hums and wags his fingers at me as I leave. If I could read, that'd be awesome. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone. But just as I'm nearing Cross, I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring.
Out of my way, shit stain.
My words spill out on their own.
You watch it.
I regret them as soon as they leave my mouth. That fucking gin. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me.
What did you say?
He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me.
You trying to start something here?
The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds called by the commotion circle him, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek.
Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight.
He turns his back on me. He comes face to face with Ice. A dangerous smile spreads across his face.
You'll do.
What happens next is a blur. Ice's fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey, Ice, take it outside. Ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me. With these 4 words, the wick erupts into hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush to the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ice vanishes out the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Karas lingers near the door, searching, I suppose, for any wounded before he departs. Mian draws their hood up tight as they slip out a side door, while Ver leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize that there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I presume it'd be the last person I get to speak to tonight, I follow. Fair. That's not a question. Of all the people I've met, the only one who left me with more questions than answers. Bear knows more than he's letting on, I'm certain of it. And if he's feeling as playful as he was earlier, I might be able to get information out of him. Still, lingering doubt looms heavy over my decision. Can I really trust someone who lies so readily? No, but I can fuck someone who lies so readily. Returning to the bar is slow work with heavy crowd vying for drinks. And I find Varys leaning up against the counter with his elbows propped on the edge and a wine glass raised to his lips. Not for the first time I catch myself staring. And judging by the looks I see thrown his way, I'm not the only one. Yet there's a clear ring around Ver, no one else seems bold enough to cross. One ear perks at the sound of my approach, but Ver doesn't do so much as even look my way when I slide onto the seat beside him. I didn't think you planned on sticking around. Free drink's a free drink, even if it tastes like rat piss. Didn't you say you wouldn't be caught dead slumming in this shithole? Bear takes a delicate sip from his glass, but his tail thrashes below the bar. You've caught me red-handed. He peers at me over the rim of his glass. In the low light, his eyes glitter jewel-bright with amusement. However will you punish me? I've been a bad monster. I figured my company's punishment enough for you. Barry's lips twitch and he smiles despite himself. So you survived the night? And you're here for praise, or will a head pat do? I feel a muscle in my jaw flex at the cruel twist of his at the cruel twist to his smile. His arrogance has made a full recovery, meaning only one thing. Bear is sobered up. So much for my plan. About that. Turns out you were right, I did run into trouble. Now I can't decide if you're an oracle, an actual threat, or just completely full of shit. Bear scoffs. Most would buy me a drink before insulting me. After the way you jerked me around, if anyone's owed a drink, it's me. Bear falls so uncharacteristically quiet for a moment that I fear I've actually crossed a line. Then he props his chin on his wrist. I don't think you understand how things work here. Information is a luxury, one you flung carelessly aside. I'm not following. If you valued my words, you'd have taken them seriously. I gave you free advice, warned you of the danger you were in, and still you went prancing off to the sea spring. Small wonder the soulless didn't tear you to ribbons. My first impulse is to argue, but what he said doesn't sit well with me. How does he know what happened to me? How'd you know about the soulless? Did you follow me? Of course not. How'd you know? I have a very sensitive nose, remember? Right. How could I forget? I did forget. It's been 4 days. You normally greet people by shoving your nose into their laps like an overeager Labrador. For a heartbeat, Bear's eyes grow wide and flat. Then he laughs under his breath. Only the ones I like. Bear trades his empty wine glass for a long-abandoned tumbler sweating beside him. Soft lumps of ice bob in the watery dregs of whiskey. But the truth is, I despise most people. His eyes flicker over my shoulder, and thin as Leander's boisterous laughter erupts from the other side of the bar. What about me? Now that we've started off on the right foot. He turns, angling so he can look me over. His gaze is agonizingly slow as it glides over me. Finally, his lips quirk. I haven't made up my mind about you yet. It's a start, or I think, until his eyes slide away and he turns back towards the bar. It's not Vera's attitude that bothers me. No, I expected that of him. It's the fact that I've got no idea how I'm supposed to hold a conversation, much less get answers when he's being so testy. And his foul mood is infectious. Did I do something to piss you off? He lets out a short breath. No. Another lie. I'm close enough to catch the subtle bristling of his tail. I'm just disappointed. People like us can't help but attract danger. Yet you seek it out, and for what? Cheap thrills? I wasn't trying to get eaten by soulless. There's something I'm looking for. You think Min can help you? Leander? And you're really willing to risk your life with those dipshits? What life? You have no idea what I've gone through, or... Forget it. I start to rise, but Bear touches my shoulder. It's a little more than a brush, but enough to give me pause. His eyes search mine, softer somehow than before. They couldn't even begin to understand you, but I could. I could help you, if only you'd listen. How do I know I can trust you? You don't, but I'm slightly less inclined to waste your time with empty flattery or insults than those two. Is what you desire really worth risking your life for? If you knew what kind of life I'd lived, you wouldn't be asking. Bear considers the condensation sweating from his glass for a long moment before speaking again. Will you trust me? Yes. I nod and he rewards me with a small smile. Good. Bear raises the tumbler to me and then snaps back the dregs. Once he's finished, he wipes his mouth on the back of his hand. Let's talk. Outside. After the demo's over. If I have to smell Leander's skunky aftershave for much longer, I'll hurl. With that, he slips away from the bar, leaving me to follow the path of his long, trailing tail through the crowd. It's so cold outside the breeze cuts clean through my bandages, freezing my fingers. But if the chill bothers Vare, he doesn't show it. He elopes purposefully down the street into an alley. This far from the wick, the bar's racket is little more than an indistinct hum. The street's as dead as the Amaryllis district was crowded. Oh, a vague sense of unease falls over me. You had questions? Ask. Bear's breath mists in the dark in the cold moonlight. His shadow stretches unnaturally long over the cobbled stone street. Quickly, I've got a show to attend. Haven't loosed it, I'm sure I've mentioned. He looks down his nose at me, effortlessly imperious, with one hand set on his hip, and for a breath I'm reminded of the stark want that gleamed in his eyes when he touched me. If you weren't so pretty, I'd walk away. But I need answers. I can't think of a better way than starting with the people I'd met earlier. If Bear doesn't prove trustworthy, maybe one of them will. First, I ask about... I'd like to know more about Ice. You two seem close. He made an impression, Not surprising. He's strong, ruthless, easy on the eyes. Gives it almost as well as he takes it, even if he is awfully greedy. Big. Everywhere, really. Bit simple, but you know what they say about still waters. I don't, but I'm too distracted by the change that's come over Bear to ask. A coy smile plays it. They beat everybody in this fucking group box. And I am here for it. How do I get in on this? Coy smile plays at his lips as he winds a finger around the chain dangling from his collar. I thought you didn't like most people. Eyes isn't most people. He's better. Our eyes meet and Var's tender expression curdles. Makes a tiny sound of distaste in the back of his throat. He's more trouble than he's worth. Dangerous too. Stay away from him and those red-eyed freaks if you value your safety or your sanity. Is that why you scolded me for going to the sea spring? I really don't think Eyes is as bad as you're saying. You don't know him. Not like I do. Fuck. The corner of his lip twitches. I gotta admit, I was surprised to see that you and Min know each other. Are you friends? Oh, yes. We laugh and go shopping and have sleepovers where we braid each other's hair and kiss with a little tongue. I'm beginning to wonder if Var's ever had friends. Let me guess. You don't like them. Can't stand them. First time we met, they stabbed me. Slid cold, hard steel between my ribs. Nearly nicked my heart. It was exquisite. The knife, I mean. Some sort of antique. Min's done nothing but disappoint me ever since. So you're not close. Can you imagine being friends with that crabby little killjoy? Impossible. Not unless they learn to lighten up. I'm afraid not even a surgeon's practice's cross could remove the stick wedged firmly up Min's pert ass. What do you think about Leander? I don't. An unusually curt answer from Var? I don't buy it. So you're not very fond of him? I wouldn't spit on Leander if he were on fire. Var shudders. Oh no, he'd enjoy that far too much. To call Leander trash would be an insult to manure. He's a pathetic, slimy little man-child in big shiny shoes. I've seen mutts rotting in gutters with more dignity. I have to remember to close my mouth. Before I can ask my next question, Var gives a frustrated growl. Don't you dare ask me about another soul. I haven't got all night for idle gossip. I wasn't finished asking. You get 2 more questions, make them count. So much for being helpful, but I suppose that's just how information works in this exhausting city. No more time for idle chatter, I'll get straight to the point. Leander told me that the Cenobium imprisons people. Did he mean you? Leander is a moaning fool with throbbing victim complex. He loves to see himself as a savior, but the only difference between his cronies and the Cenobium stooges are the uniforms. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what surprises me more, the bluntness with which Var spoke, or the venom lacing his ordinarily silken voice. You're asking who, when you should be asking why. Says the asshole counting my questions. The look he throws me is infuriatingly self-satisfied. Fine. Why were you imprisoned? For the same reason they'll disappear you given half the chance. I'm something special. Var bows his head, gathering his hair in his hands and lifting it from his shoulders, to bear the plain leather collar adorning his neck. See this collar? He cranes his neck, inviting me to lean closer. Looks unremarkable, doesn't it? I had assumed that Var's collar was a personal touch. On closer glance, the thick, supple letter is molded to fit his neck snugly. The large silver buckle seems easy enough to pry open. I reach forward to touch the buckle, but Var's hand lashes out. Long, slender fingers wrap around my wrist, exerting just enough pressure to hint how easily he could snap my bones. Shh. Don't you know better than to touch without asking? He tuts like a scolding teacher, but an impish smile grazes his lips. Can I please? Our eyes meet, his thin with amusement. No. You didn't ask me first, so why should I? Our eyes meet and he grins. Because I said so. That's not very fair. Fuck fairness. Life's not fair. His voice lowers with a pleased rumble. Patience, Delta. I'll tell you when and how you can touch me. Behave, or I'll make you bleed. He says it with a smile so sweet it hurts. Is that a threat or a promise? Bear doesn't answer me, but he lets go of my arm. I smooth down my bandages, more to get a grip than anything else. Can't lose my composure again. By now I had fully expected Bear to begin walking away, but the fact he hasn't still suggests he's either forgot about his warning, or he was never counting my questions to begin with. Are you saying that what'll happen if Zenobia finds out I'm different? I'll be collared? Doubtful. They keep me around because I'm the best at what I do. And what exactly do you do so well? Killing. He says it carelessly, without hesitation. As long as I wear this collar, I'm made to hunt the Cenobium's dizzying array of enemies. Monsters, soulless, noisy dissonants who grow overbold. I'm bound by their will until the day I die. That's awful. Bear murmurs in agreement. It is, isn't it? And that's all you're getting from me. I really must leave now. I'll be late. That's it? Why'd you bring me here if you weren't going to explain anything? He has the nerve to laugh. Isn't that obvious? I wanted to lure you out here alone so I could eat you. You're lying again. And you're asking far too many questions for someone hiding so much. He sneers, and reflexively I shove my hands deep into my cloak. What makes you think I'm hiding anything? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's the tough act, or the way you tense up at the slightest provocation. More likely it's the bandages. Not exactly subtle, I'll be going, unless you're willing to share some morsels with me. There's a biting edge to his playful tone. I can't tell you anything. Wrong. You can start with what you are. I take a step backward, but my back hits a wall, and Ver follows me in lockstep. I turn only to find his left hand resting on the wall beside my head, caging me in. Ver reaches for me. His fingers curl around my chin and lift, forcing me to meet his lidded gaze. Would you believe me if I said that the eyes are windows to the soul? My eyelid twitches. Cliché, I know, but let me tell you a little secret. Bear leans in until his lashes tickle my cheek, and the warm, faintly spiced scent of his hair drowns out the stench of greasy, cooking fires and chimney smoke. There's nothing you can hide from me. His voice is low, so supple I could slip into it. You poor thing, misled by those you trusted most. You caused so much suffering unknowingly. I know that pain. I can help you forget it all. Swallow thickly. How could he possibly know? This has to be some kind of trick. But for once, Vera isn't smiling. All that suffering has made your soul so irresistible. His piercing eyes pin me to the spot. The look on his face makes my blood run cold. I've seen it before. Traveling through the wastes, the lanterns would occasionally reveal carcasses picked clean by starving scavengers, whose eyes shone in the dark with the same ravenous hunger. Bear takes a shuddering breath. You're trembling. What if you and I went somewhere quieter, alone? I'm sick of running, or hurting, or suffering. Surrendering completely is the easiest thing I've ever done. Before I can finish, Fair hushes me. A gloved thumb runs across my lips, bringing the taste of leather when it dips into my mouth. He bends closer and closer. Through the gauzy veil of his hair, as his shadows spread whorls of smoke, eddies of darkness peeling off the walls and blooming to blot out the moon. Sensation flees with the light, leaving me numb in everything except the sudden pressure of hand tightening around my throat. Something snaps, and the bitter taste of copper floods my mouth. Bear's lips crush mine as he swallows, the reedy thread of my final breath. This time death comes swiftly, permanently.
Shit. Wow. You know what? No, I'm gonna leave it at the end. That'll be the end of the demo that I play.
Can I go back to that screen?
Yeah. Holy shit.
I mean,
One.
massive kudos for another visual novel where dying is not bad. Love Sucks does that incredibly well with their gun cap mechanic. Touchstarved seems to also be handling it very well. I like that you can die. I like that you can die, and it's not because you picked a red option. It said in the description, like when you start the game, like if you pick a red bit of text, it'll like lead you to special content. That wasn't red, and I still died. Nothing there was red. I really like that. I'm excited for this game to come out. You can wishlist it on Steam. I have already. I'm excited. And goodbye.